few weeks.
Yep.
How are things going in practice?
They're going well. I think we've talked about it before. Just having a chance to compete this summer, I think that did help us, kind of get a head start into the fall. So we had that 6 weeks where we can learn, kind of get prepared for the fall and be ready to go. And then I think, just getting into August, starting to get more details of what we're doing as far as practice. Like the players talked about, we scrimmage a lot. So it's learning each other, learning style of play, the intensity we need to play at, and then, just putting it all on the court. I think that's what we've been talking about a lot about this fall is proving on the court that we belong. And so I think it's been going well. We find out next week we've got a couple scrimmages, and then 2 weeks we play.
How do you guys feel like you did building the roster?
I think going into the spring, we talked a lot about getting taller, more athletic. We did want to recruit Louisiana, and so I think we made some changes. The staff upgrades, bringing in Coach Pittman, who knows Texas, Louisiana. He's been around the Southland. That definitely helped us elevate who we were bringing in as far as student athletes. But I also think that we wanted to get the right mix too. We didn't want to just bring in players to fit roles, but we wanted to bring in the right fit for our family, our team, our program. I think we did that. We're extremely excited with the group of players that we have that are here. They're working together with our returners, but they also bring that experience that we needed to really elevate our game, elevate our team in the conference standings, and in the non-conference too. We have a tough non-conference schedule again, so just being able to play at a high level at all times.
You talked about athleticism a lot and getting more athletic, getting more physical, getting better in the paint, but also you need to get experience. Do you think you address that as much as anything?
I do, because they've all started games at what you would consider a higher level, higher mid-major level. They have, their background. They've all come from really great high school programs. They played at the next level. They've started games. They have that experience. They've played against tough Power Four teams. Teams that we play in the non-conference. So that's what we needed to elevate really who we are in the Southland. So I think providing that experience with our returners is a good blend for us. And I think hopefully through the first couple of weeks we can see that growth as a team and have that chemistry to be ready for the Southland Conference.
One of the things we talked about before was not only that, but you kept your 5 freshmen.
Yeah.
Did you have to recruit them more, or did you have to recruit the new players more? Who did you end up recruiting more?
Well, at the beginning, it was the returners. So right away, it was just, I think you're recruiting them throughout the season too, especially now with the portal. Let's be honest, they're being recruited at all times, especially freshmen that you develop. They played a lot, and so almost all of them were getting recruited during the season, so it's recruiting them throughout the year. I think it's just college basketball that we're living in now. You're going to have to do it. So after the season, it was making sure that they were all coming back. And then we really hit the ground running as far as bringing in new, players that can come in and really compete to where we wanted to be at this fall and where we want to be at during the Southland Conference play. And so having the right mix, making sure they're the right fit for our team, but I think it was probably the same as far as recruiting them and then recruiting new players.
Yeah. A little bit off-season subject, but the new NLI rule. Do you think that'll help mid-majors or help guys like McNeese program?
I don't know if it'll really affect it because basically you could get out of an NLI anyways. I mean, you could, if a coach changed or there was a change in the program, you could get out of it anyway. So I don't know if it'll really affect us as much. I think just all the changes, you just got to be aware of all the changes that are going on and be able to adapt to those as a coach. We talk about with our staff, we've almost become general managers in a way where we have to be able to see our returning players and know recruits and have a 5-year plan and have that adjustable. And then, when are we signing kids? So I think it just is all it's adjusting every day. So being able to adjust to it, to adapt to it and being able to recruit at a high level, that's what we want to do. So we're trying to get the highest level we can of freshmen coming in. If we don't get them, we turn our attention to the JUCO and portal.
Do you think that in a way not only affected this year's program, but the program in general by the way you were able to kind of shift and get the Louisiana kids back, especially the local ones?
Yeah, I do. I think, it's building programs is never easy, and especially during the portal season now that we're in. And last year we've talked about it. I almost took a different approach. We went young. We did have a lot of injuries last year that affected our season last year, but I do think it did help us go into this year as far as getting those Louisiana players back. We've been in the process the last 2 or 3 years of recruiting Louisiana players, but I think this year it finally paid off, and I think even next year it will pay off even more because we do have those connections. We do have the success with our team now, and I think it will pay off. And we can see that with the recruits that we're looking at right now and the commitments that we're going to get hopefully in the next week or two.
Um, Obviously, you're not considered highly in the league,
Yeah.
but how much do you think you can surprise them because there's so many new faces, and how much progress do you think the freshmen really made this year in the offseason?
They made a lot of progress, and I think it does have to do with our competition on the court. I think playing at a higher level against higher competition does help daily. I think I think all the freshmen have gotten better since last year, and I think that had to do with the summer and then our fall workouts. But you're competing at another level, and so I think playing against better players, you're going to become better yourself. We have to do it on the court. I've said it before. We have to do it on the court. It's one thing to talk about it and say we're going to be better and say we're going to change who we are, but until we do it on the court, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we say. We've got to go out there and do it on the court. We've been talking about that with our team from day one. We want to go on the court and make a statement, and that's going to be in 2 weeks. It's going to carry on through the non-conference, and then we've got to send a statement that first conference game, that we're a different McNeese, and we're here to compete and really strive for a championship.
I know you were forced to play a lot of youngsters.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you kind of get the benefit now this year, maybe?
I think so. I think they've come in with some experience. 25, 30 games they've played. They've been in situations. You and I have talked about it. Of our 16 games in the conference, we had 12 that were in the second half where we were one possession either ahead, tied, or behind in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's a crazy stat to think about, 12 of those games. So to have that experience, to be in those games, to be able to turn around and now have that experience with the players that are coming in, I think says a lot about a younger team now that has become more experienced, I feel. Maybe not in the Southland, but we provide that experience coming back with the experience that we have coming in.
You talked a little bit before about Danielle's growth.
Yeah.
Have you still seen that over the last week and a half?
Yeah, Daniela, she was able to practice last year and gain some experience. And I think, she's a little bit ups and downs with injuries, this preseason, but she's definitely a strong player. She's definitely, on the defensive end, learning how to play at the college level. I think you can get away with certain things at the high school level, and she's learning not to foul, to block shots a certain way, to rebound without fouling. So she's still learning some things as far as the college game, but to have that year last year to redshirt and then come in, she's definitely a strong player for us, and hopefully she'll be able to provide some good quality minutes.
What do you want to see year one to year two for the freshmen?
Just the minutes may be different because last year they were forced to play a lot, but just their experience, using their experience to win games. I mean, that's what and we talked about with the other players too, is just combining the experience that they have coming in with the experience we have in the Southland and kind of combining that. But we got to go on the court and win games. So hopefully them being in that situation in the Southland Conference, the experience we have coming in, I think that combination will be good for us. But they've got to compete every day. They've got to be able to accept the role. They've got to be able to elevate their game. I want to be the deepest team in the Southland. I think we have that. We have that with our team, but I want to be the deepest team. If we have a player that goes down or if we have a player that's out, we have people that can step up. And we're seeing that right now. We have a player that's out right now. Paris is out, but we're seeing players step up and kind of fill that role. And we expect great things from her too. But until then, players are going to step up and take that role on.
What about Yespa's growth? We've talked a little bit about it from 3 years ago when she was fouling almost every time she got in the car.
Right.
She'd get to the scores table and have a foul.
Yeah.
Now, last year, she was really a dominant force inside. But
What
about her change?
I just think she's such a unique player. You know, she has grown so much in 4 years. Her development as a player, like you said, coming in, she was like a deer in headlights. She didn't know what to do, and just out there playing among women, and she was just a little girl, and you didn't know what to do. But now she's really changed her game. She's gotten stronger. She really put the time into the weight room, developing her game in individual workouts, watching tape. Um, I think she's a unique guard. Offensively, she's got a skill set that's hard to guard. If you're a post player, if you're 6'4", 6'5", you can't guard it on the outside. If you put a 6 foot, guard on her, she'll post you up and she'll score at will. So she's a tough, tough guard. She's got the nice euro, in the fast break, but she can also step out and hit threes now too. So she's developed a complete game offensively. Defensively is where I think we've worked the most with her, not fouling, understanding certain situations, how to play aggressive, how to back up a little bit and not play aggressive, not to get a foul. But she plays with a motor. She's 100% all the time. I mean, she is out there flying around. And I think that's an advantage, but also a disadvantage too, because she does get some offensive rebound fouls as well. But you want players to play at a high level energy like her. It's a player that you want to play with, not play against. So I'm glad she's on our team.
The size overall, because last year I think 3 or 4 games we saw here,
Yeah.
you were a rebound away from winning.
Right.
It seems like you addressed the rebounding quite a bit, and especially in the paint. Was that the number one goal, or?
I think it's the number one goal every practice. I think if you ask the players, it'd probably be the one thing I say the most is block out, block out, block out. But I do it at a higher intensity level because it's got to be something that we do. We are taller, but it doesn't matter. You can be taller, and if you don't block out, if you're not physical, if you're not wanting the ball, it doesn't matter. Teams are going to get the offensive rebounds. So we've got to be better at blocking out. It does help that we're taller. It does help that we're more aggressive. But we talked about many, many times before, if you're 1 rebound away, that says everything in the game. You've got to be able to secure rebounds and be able to be better on the offensive rebounding end too as well. Give yourself more possessions, then you can win those games.
Last question for me is,
yeah.
In your 4 years here, does this feel like the team you're most comfortable with, and it kind of, you took a step into getting the type of players you want here?
I think so. It feels to me like our first coaching staff, our first team, our first players. And I know it sounds weird to be here, 3 years and to say that, but it has taken some time, to build this up. And it feels like this is first year that we can kind of say it's our team, and now we're ready to go. And again, you can say that all you want until you do it on the court. It doesn't matter. We've got to prove it on the court. We've got to go out there and prove on the court that we belong and we want to compete for a championship.
I'm good.